let's just sink into the room. Attention at the forehead and crown. Let your eyes fall to a spot on the floor or on the wall or desk in front of you. And just anchor them to get them out of the way. And from there, you're just going to begin to breathe. You're going to let go of the complexities of life for just a little while. And just be with the simplicity of the breath. As you inhale, you're right there with that inhale. As you exhale, you're riding that exhale all the way down. And you're so present with that breath that you even start to notice the gaps of space, of nothing space in between the inhale and the exhale, and in between the exhale and the inhale. Those little transition moments. And let's just sit like that together for a while. Give yourself to the simplicity of the breath. I want to talk to you tonight about acceptance. Acceptance is a word that is used a lot in spirituality. But there's a lot of spirituality out there that is airy-fairy, granola, peace and love. And the word acceptance has been kind of given a similar connotation of just, it's all okay, it's all going to be fine. Just accept. But it's not fine, is it? Does it all feel fine? Anyone who stays in a class like this is usually somebody looking for something real. Because they feel better by the end of the class, but it's usually work to get there. You have to show up. You have to be silent when you just want to scramble and move. You have to let go of a bunch of things that seem really pressing in exchange for nothing. In exchange for blank space that eventually gets filled. But you don't know that in the moment. And so you show up and you face that discomfort. And that's on a good day. Hopefully you do that enough times that you come to realize that the way you think it's going to feel is usually not indicative of what it's actually going to feel like. That there's a kind of unpredictable freedom that comes from just letting go of everything and showing up. For staying open in the face of discomfort. And most of the airy-fairy teachings teach about the cessation of suffering, they teach about this kind of perfect world that if we were all just doing it right, we would be in. That if you just have positive thoughts, everything's going to be okay. On an ultimate level, that's actually true. But on the level that most people are living, it's complete bullshit. All you have to do is live a couple of days to see that. We didn't come here to rest on a cloud. And the majority of what we experience doesn't feel fair. It's balanced at a very large, expanded level. It's balanced, and everyone is getting what they need. But at the level of individual experience, it's atrocious and unfair. And what makes it so hard is that as humans, we know better. If you look to the animal kingdom, it's just a common Tuesday. But as humans, especially humans pursuing a spiritual life, we know better. But there's levels to that too. First level is kind of the airy-fairy level. We know better, and we know that if everybody would just stop being selfish, and if everybody would just see the people in front of them, that we could end all suffering. The thing is, if you end all suffering, you end the whole point of being here. The lifetime after lifetime after lifetime of growth. That is the real purpose of this place. The reason it's so hard. The reason that it's built for you to actually start your life asleep, so that you can set a bunch of cycles in motion that make you feel stuck, that you then have to find your way out of. And there are all sorts of arenas in this world where you can find yourself. And they're not all the same. Some of them are filled with expected horrors and unexpected horrors, life-threatening horrors. Some lives are taken before they even have a chance to start. And yet, on an expanded level, it's balanced. On an expanded level, what's happening is exactly what needs to happen for the net growth of the one. So acceptance is not something an airy-fairy person can handle. Acceptance requires a much greater level of spiritual maturity. In fact, most of the acceptance that happens at the lower airy-fairy levels actually is not acceptance at all, it's weakness. It's the type of weakness that allows horrible things to go unchecked, that allows bad behavior to go unacknowledged. Colorblindness, that I'm okay, you're okay, there's nothing we have to deal with sort of mindset that allows systemic discrimination to exist. Real acceptance, the acceptance that everyone who shows up in a class like this is prepared for. Is leaning into the fact that this world is painful and that you're here to experience that pain. That you're here to stay open in the face of it It's not the avoidance of the suffering. It's the willingness to step into it. And in stepping into it, rather than having your mind scattered into all the gory details of it, to embrace it in its entirety the way a mother embraces a crying child. The inner experience of that is, I'm here for you and I'm available. I don't know if I can fix the suffering, but I'm strong enough to be here with you. And you're not going to suffer alone. I don't know if I can make the world fair, but I can stay awake and present and willing in the face of it. Whether that's the suffering of another person, or whether that's the difficulties you're facing in your own lives. You won the jackpot being born. It's a chance to expand faster than any other method. But the prize is a losing battle, filled with countless humiliations and indignities. There's beauty in the face of all of them, but only at a very expanded level. When you're seeing it all at once. The atrocities of life highlight the beauty through contrast. And the gain of one is the expense of another. The task is, can you let it all sit inside of you wide open and just let all your resources flow? So that if something horrible has to happen, it happens with the best outcome. Sometimes something has to end for the next thing to begin, even for the person that it's ending for. So there's a big picture to consider. Can you sit with that big picture while simultaneously being available for the very specific individualized pain? Can you be that complete? That's what spiritual life looks like in the world. Many people leave the world so that they can have an easier awakening. They awaken at the top of a mountain, relatively unchallenged. I've had teachers like that. Then they get students, and all the work they didn't do gets done through how horribly they interact with their students. You're here for a brief period of time. Don't miss an inch of it. Have the experience completely. And what you'll find is that your awareness evolves things in beautiful ways. That your awareness makes sense of it, not just for you, but for even the people who are in trouble. There's a technique I've taught in the past. We haven't done it in a while. But it's a technique called Tonglen, where you are breathing in the suffering of the world on the inhale. In between the inhale and the exhale, you are opening yourself up to become an antidote to that feeling. And on the exhale, you are giving that antidote out. You are releasing everything you have inside of you to be an antidote. And if you hold nothing back, what you'll find is that you have more and more to give, because the floodgates open. For those of you who have a person in your life that is suffering right now, that's the best thing you can do for them. It will provide healing for them. It will also provide healing for you. For those of you who are suffering your own personal losses, the answer is to breathe open and free without hiding from the loss at all. To be 100% present and aware, and let it be exactly what it needs to be. There are a million roads through this life. I don't know a single one that doesn't have some really difficult stuff on it. You can't control that. All you can do is control how you respond to it. And if you really take the reins on that, you'll find it's enough. You'll find that it's huge. Completely transformative, not just to you, but to the people connected to you. So in this class, if we say acceptance, that's what we mean. It's a very tall order, but within the reach of anybody here tonight. Are there any questions about that? So let's practice that. Okay, so someone is saying, can you describe the breathing exercise again? Yes, of course, I'm sorry. So, one of the biggest things that actually creates the problems of life is your resistance to the problem. Most people are trying to get away from the pain, to get away from the fear, to get away from the bad, and they're trying to cling to the good. And what this breathing exercise does is it completely reverses that. You purposefully breathe in all the bad, all the fear. You are just completely present with it. And then on the exhale, you breathe out all the good, all the nurturing, all the love you possibly have to give. Now, in the beginning of your practice, that's how you would do that. But if you've been meditating a little while, you actually have this ability to breathe in exactly the pain that is present. But then at the top of the inhale, before you exhale, there's just a silent prayer that you become the exact antidote to that suffering. And if you just kind of give yourself up, what you will experience is this rearrangement in feeling, and you'll breathe that out. And that's actually the most effective way to do it. That is a work of true healing. Super specific to the problem. It's lock and key to opening the door of that problem. So I would say that's a higher version of that practice. But in the beginning, it's usually taught breathe in, the darkness and the smoke and the bad, and exhale the light and the love and the good. I feel like most people who land in this class are capable of doing a little more than that. You're capable of actually connecting with what's wrong and breathing in. And then just opening yourself to shift and just trusting. And then breathing out that shift, even if you don't have a name for it. Energy is nuanced. So my advice would be to try both of them. But those of you who need help with your own personal issue, you can actually do the same thing. It's about not running away from your fear. You can be 100% open and present and accepting, and just take it in. Let it permeate you. And then ask for the antidote to that feeling. And then breathe that out into your personal space. Any more questions about that? If you're suffering, there's no better practice than this. If you're feeling helpless and like you want to be able to do something, and there's nothing to do, this is what you can do. And it will actually help. All right, everybody. So let's just do it. Get yourself comfortable. Just do a few natural breaths while you connect with the issue that you want to address. What's there? the inhale, you're going to bring that in. On the exhale, you're going to breathe out the antidote. Give it a try. Feel your way into it. May I become what you need. I am here for you exactly as you are. May I become what you need. Deeper with each breath. The floodgates open. If you can't flow, may I flow on your behalf. If you can't accept, may I accept on your behalf. May the floodgates open. I'm here and I'm not afraid of your suffering. As I exhale, let me be the calm, sure force in your heart. I will be the rock upon which you can stand. As I inhale, I shoulder your load in complete willingness. As I exhale everything you need for your best outcome. hold nothing back. This only works if you're all in. Which means on every exhale, you are at one with the gift that you're giving. It permeates everything. And on the inhale, you are in complete awareness of the difficulty in front of you. You're living in a dual world, hot and cold, up and down, black and white, good and bad. keeps you in a dual experience of a dual world is your resistance towards one pole in exchange for the other pole. I want this, not that. I want good, not bad. I want comfort, not suffering. The answer is lifting out of the duality. And the road to that is getting really, really comfortable with the suffering. To be with it, tend to it, and then give to it. Not to abolish it or wipe it away, but so that its highest purpose can be achieved. It doesn't erase the bad. But it balances it by putting it in a proper context. And if you can experience that expanded context, then the people you're breathing for can experience some piece of that. And as they do, it shifts the energy for them. And that shifts the energy of the entire scene. And who knows what becomes possible then. If you ever had one of those days where you're just working at your desk so hard and you just forget to look up, and then at one point you look up from your desk and suddenly you can see that there are a million other options, a whole world that had looked so narrow. Little thing, right? Just looking up. But it changes everything. A little shift in the energy, which sometimes is just someone you're connected to suddenly feeling okay. Opens up a whole new set of options. The biggest gift you can give to anybody is your own freedom, your own flexibility. Which is not about resisting suffering. It's about standing tall in the face of it and being available. Being strong when maybe someone else can't. That's the gift. It takes complete acceptance. This week, I'd like you to work with that. I'd like you to catch the parts of yourself that resist pain. And I'd like you to step into it with that technique. No hiding. Just acceptance. Any questions before we end for the night? Okay, everybody. I wish you a good week, and I will see you on Thursday. Have a good night.
Thank you, Liam. Thanks, Lee.